Alright, welcome back to another D&D movie time. And we're still celebrating my birthday. I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey. Where we will jump to the left and do the time warp. That'll make a lot more sense.
So, are we watching Back to the Future?
No, we're watching a musical. There's no musical as of right now of Back to the Future.
Then what's the movie?
Well, people can see it on screen, but you're just gonna have to wait.
I would like to know.
But after we come back, Cora will tell us what the movie is, what the movie was about, and I will give you a reason why this specific movie is very important to me. So, like I said, are you ready, Cora?
Wait.
It's just a jump to the left. To jump to the left.
Okay.
You've seen all kinds of movies, but you've never seen anything like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is wonderfully weird.
They're probably foreigners with ways different than our own.
It's fabulously freaky. It's a trip. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. The story is strange.
For tonight, my beautiful picture is destined to be born!
The songs are super. Smashing. The cast is completely crazy. There's a mad scientist named Frank N. Furter.
Come up to the lab and see what's on the slab.
And Rocky, his incredible creature.
I knew he was in with a bad crowd, but it was worse than I imagined.
A sinister servant named Riff Raff. And Brad and Janet.
My name's Brad Major.
Just a couple of clean-cut kids.
This is my fiancée, Janet Weiss.
Eddie. Magenta. Columbia. Dr. Scott. So give yourself over to absolute pleasure. See the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Alright, so we just finished the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And Cora's asked that I explain it because I guess it was too complicated of a plot for her.
And I can't find any words that will denomatize us. I don't know.
Dramatize.
Why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing? You're the one who's laughing. Denomatize. Whatever.
Times. I don't know how to say it.
Anyways. So real quick, I'm going to go through the basics of this movie. For those that don't know. I'm going to leave out a lot of the weird stuff. But if you want to know more about the weird stuff that happens in this movie, just go watch it yourselves. And don't watch the remake. The remake is stupid. This one
There's a
is...
remake?
Yes, there's a remake where there's a woman that plays Dr. Frankenfurter. Which makes no sense based on the way Dr. Frankenfurter's dressed. It was weird because he was an actual man dressed like a woman. But in the remake, it's an actual woman who's dressed like a woman. So that is why it doesn't work in the remake. Anyways, so we open up on Brad and Janet, who are at a wedding, and after the wedding's over, they get engaged to each other. They decide they're going to go tell their teacher who they met in, whose class they met in. Well, on the way there, they get a flat tire, so they go looking for a phone at this nearby castle, and from there, it just starts getting really weird and strange. It's kind of a little bit of a retelling of Dracula, and a little bit of a retelling of Frankenstein, and then some alien stuff is thrown in there. It's a combination of a lot of like old classic scary stories from like the 40s and 50s. Although I think this is taking place in the 60s or 70s. Because it's during the Nixon... Like you actually hear at one point the Nixon resignation speech. But anyways, they meet the main person of the castle, Dr. Frankenfurter, played by Tim Curry, which I thought once he was on screen, Cora was going to be totally like going gaga for, because she does normally, when she saw him in Clue, when she saw him in Home Alone, when she saw him in Muppet Treasure Island. So we'll see how she does with it. But anyways, hopefully after seeing this, though, it will definitely be no problem for her. Because, I mean, come on, you can't... I don't think you'll ever be able to look at this guy without seeing an image of Dr. Frankenfurter in your head. So, we'll see how you do with it. Now that you've seen him like this. You can't seriously take him serious anymore. Anyways, moving on. So, Dr. Frankenfurter creates a quote-unquote monster/man. Is basically just a man. But then we learn that he had a body in the freezer, and the person who was in the freezer wasn't quite dead. So, Meatloaf makes an appearance as Eddie. And he sings a song called Hot Patootie, which is a pretty catchy beat. And then Dr. Frankenfurter kills him. There's a lot of shenanigans as hours pass into the night. And finally, the doctor who they were actually going to meet, Brad and Janet, their doctor friend ends up showing up at that castle. And as a twist... it turns out that their friend is the uncle to Eddie. That Eddie was his nephew or cousin or something. I don't know. He's related to him somehow.
Nephew.
But then they all decide to have, they say it's dinner, but I mean, it's got to be like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning at this point. Because it was already dark. So, if you're trying to keep track of the time, that's a really late dinner. That's more like an early breakfast.
Late dinner or...
But they're having rump roast. Or roast of some kind. And it turns out it actually might be a rump roast. Because it turns out that the meal that they were eating was actually Eddie. There's little hints to it beforehand. But there's afterwards, like he pulls off the table cover and you see the remains of Eddie in a glass case. So that's kind of hinting that that's what they've been eating that whole time. And so then there's some more shenanigans, some more songs, and during sort of the big showstopper, or the big finale, the other two side characters, Riff Raff and Magenta, they show up, and they're like, hey, we're basically sick of this. We don't want to be on Earth anymore. We're going home, and this whole thing is done. We're taking the place and we're going home. And so Frankenfurter thinks that they're all going back to their planet, but Riff Raff says, oh wait, no, you misunderstood me. When I said we, I mean just me and her. You're gonna die. We're gonna kill you before we go. And we'll just take your body back. But, so yeah. And then after that, they get out of the house before the entire house is teleported away back to their home planet. And that's the movie. So, real quick, an interesting thing about this movie, the reason this movie is so important to me, and indirectly also to you, Cora, is this is the movie where my dad met my mom. And if they had not both been into this movie, then they may have never met. And I would never have been born. Which means you might never have been born. So, yeah. And as far as I know, as last I heard, some other interesting facts about the Rocky Horror Picture Show is this movie is the longest running movie in theaters. This movie is still shown in some theaters even today. That's how big of a following this thing has. People love it. They dress up as the characters. They are called midnight showings. They'll show it at midnight. And which, like I said, people go. There's like a whole other thing. I used to have a little booklet that actually said there's certain things you're supposed to do at certain times throughout the movie. Like, there's this one scene where Brad goes, Janet, and then he has like a really long pause, and you're supposed to say it, or something like that. Or like at the end, I don't know if you heard me, when the criminologist, he's like, lost in time, then there's quite a pause, and then he says, lost in space. You're supposed to, you, the audience, are supposed to ask him, like, what's your favorite TV show? So then it sounds like he answers it with Lost in Space, which is a TV show. Way before your time. What are you giving me that look for? So I'm guessing you're never going to watch this again.
-0. Wait, no. -100. Negative.
Alright. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll give our final thoughts and scores.
Bye.
In the glow of the lights, the story ignites with echoes of carols that dance in the night. A journey in sight, adventure takes flight. So brace for the magic, we're ready to fight. Hear the bells chime, feel the beat start to climb. Let the music play, we're rising today. With a rhythm of joy that will carry us away. In the heart of the night, we'll shine bright and bold as the story unfolds. With the spirit of gold. Through frost and the snow, our courage will grow. With each thrilling note, let the excitement flow. Together we'll stand, hand in hand, high and low. This chapter is ours, with time to let go. Gather the light, we're taking the stage. Let the music play, we're rising today. With a rhythm of joy that will carry us away. In the heart of the night, we'll shine bright and bold as the story unfolds. With the spirit of gold. So here we embark on this wondrous road, with notes of the past fueling our glow.
Alright, Cora. Starting with me, since it's my birthday. Since you made me do all the other talking. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this probably a 7 out of 10. I like the music a lot. That's what basically keeps my interest. I don't watch this all the time. It's more interesting, I guess, to me, because it does kind of make me feel a little bit more connected to both my parents, because I found out this is how my parents met, and it kind of goes to show, like, you know, some of the crazy stuff I've done doesn't compare sometimes. Like, I've had people give me weird looks, and it's like, oh, you think this is bad? Like, me wanting to wear a Star Wars costume to a Star Wars movie You think that's bad? Yeah. I can't imagine some of the stories I've heard about my dad, so.
What's the Star Wars costume?
What?
What's the Star Wars costume?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if I did. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I just like a Jedi. Who knows?
It makes sense.
Anyways. But, yeah, the reason I give this a 7 out of 10 is merely because of the fact I like the music, I like the beginning, and I like the end for sure. The middle kind of loses me, and it's kind of like, I do get that sense, like, especially for a kid who's not understanding what all the little details are. Even as an adult, I still am like, towards the middle. But definitely like the beginning and the end. I definitely like all the music. I wouldn't say there's any songs I don't like. There is one that is particularly not one I want to talk about in a public place. Like, if I was, like, even here on this review, there's one I won't talk about, other than the little bit I did. But I would have to say, definitely my favorite song is probably the Time Warp song. It is probably the best. Rose Tint My World is probably my second favorite. And Rocky Horror Picture Show, the very first song with Lips, is probably my third favorite. So, but, and of course, Tim Curry is very entertaining a lot of the time. So, definitely my favorite character. But only as a character. I don't want to be him. Anyways, now we're going to move on to Cora's score. Cora, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give the Rocky Horror Picture
0, and if I could give this negatives, I would.
Really? There's nothing you liked about it? Not even a favorite song?
No.
Alright. Whatever. You know what? You should watch this again. Maybe when you're a little bit older. Like 16, 17. And see if your viewpoint changes on it. Because maybe it's just because you're a child. Although as a child, I was completely like, whoa. This is crazy. Yeah, I watched this when I was about your age. For the first time. And I love the music. I had CDs of the music. I used to listen to the songs all the time. But, yeah. I can't remember if I first saw the movie at my dad's or my mom's. But I was definitely around your age here. And I just found it interesting. I was just more I guess I was more into it for the music though. Because ever since I had got the music, I really stopped watching the movie, so even now, like, I mean, how many times you see me throw this movie on?
0, not including this one. 0, 1, including this one.
Exactly, because I have the music, so if I want to listen to the songs, I can just put the songs on. So, like I said, I think, maybe in a couple of years, your mind will change. And like I've said, that this isn't probably something I would expect you'd ever seek out to watch. But if you ever did come across it again, I think you'll enjoy it more when you get older. But alright, that's going to wrap up this review for my birthday. Oh God, another year older. So if you guys could, for my birthday, help us reach some bigger numbers. Let's get up into the 500s if we can. I doubt that'll happen, but it'd be nice. With that said, we will see you all in the next episode.